Hello dear friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to see and study games of Ashot Anastasian. Here I'm having his game against Alexander Chernasvitov, Voskresensk, 1992. We see double-edged position with a lot of pieces on the board. Of course, white would very much like to push e3, e4 and open up the position, but we see a lot of black pieces stopping e4. And here Anastasian played rook b1, very typical move with the very typical ideas to push b4, a takes b, a takes b, maybe b5. Minority attack. And we see that the engines are showing knight a6, stopping b4 ideas. Anastasian's opponent went knight e6. And I'm assuming the point is being if b4, a takes b, a takes b, knight c7. And knight is coming to b5. b5 is stopped. Black more or less enjoys his position. And here e4. F takes c, d takes c, bishop takes a3, e takes d. And here the best move is being to capture with the c pawn, which makes a lot of sense. You take control over c4 and over e4 squares. We will see later how important that squares are. And here Anastasian's opponent went wrong by capturing with the knight and bishop a1. And this position is already quite difficult for black to handle. I'm having ideas to go knight c4, knight e4, rook e4, rook e5, knight e5. Too many unpleasant threats. Yes, we see that knight b4 is being the best move. I think very concrete move. You're attacking my queen, and maybe my queen does not have many good squares. That's the reason. And after queen f5, retreating the knight to d5. So queen c5, knight c4. I think if b5, then knight a3, I can at least take, and then the other knight is jumping to e5. Bishop b4. And here in this position, computers are showing that rook e5 finishes the game with the ideas to go rook h5. Anastasian went rook e4 with the similar ideas to get the rook on h4. And for some reason here, knight f6 is okay. Let's say if I go rook h4, what is happening? Knight f8. So Chernasvitov went knight f8, and here bishop d4 is very strong. Yes, attacking the queen and moving black's queen to b5. Yes, queen b5, knight c to e5. If you go some bishop f5, then rook e8, bishop c2, rook a8. If I take bishop c5, bishop c5, bishop e4, white is being much better. So rook h4. Yes, now the best move is being knight f6. But anyway, black is having very unpleasant position. Almost all white pieces are in attack in this or in that way. So it was queen e7, knight e5, threatening some rook h7, queen e6. Yes, here knight d7, queen takes d7, knight e5 finishes the game. Bishop e4 is very strong. Bishop d5. Yes, if queen d5, knight d7, forcing opponent to take with the queen, and knight b6 is coming. So this knight d7, once again, if you capture with the queen, knight b6 comes and wins an exchange. But here black managed to see this tricky move, queen g6. Somehow still the game goes on. The best, according to engines, is to play knight e3, queen c2, knight c2, knight d7. Let's say this. You are forced to take. I'm taking with the knight. You are forced to take. I take knight b4. And a takes b, rook takes b4. Very good bishop. Very strong bishop. Some weaknesses. Some targets. White is winning. So Anastasian went bishop g7. Queen captures. Knight takes. Rook takes. And knight d5. Threatening some knight g6. So this, rook d1, attacking the pawn on d5. And now rook d4. Bringing the other piece. Some rook g4 ideas are there. Bishop e1. And here, of course, rook g4 finishes the game. Knight d3. Queen e2. Just capturing the pawn. White is not only being some material up, white is also having much better placement of pieces. And also black is having completely exposed king side and king on h8. Bishop f6, rook e4. Maybe some other alternatives are there. Slightly better moves than what Anastasian is playing. But anyway, white is being completely winning. Queen f7, rook b5. And now knight e5. Some small hopes for opponent, rook e7. Completely winning position for white. Check. Rook c5 back, queen g4, threatening checkmate. And now activating the queen. Check. Rook g4, forcing rook g5, rook e4, threatening rook takes or h4. And now capture. Taking on b6. Queen d4. And here, like resigned, completely lost position. Another game for today is from Chess Olympiad 1992, Philippines, Manila. Ashot Anastasian with the rating of 2490 is playing against a Turkish player 2255, İpek or İpek Ali. Some theoretical battle. Nimzo with queen c2. Let me remind you that throughout his career, Anastasian always liked going for Nimzo and especially Nimzo with queen c2. c5. Nowadays d5 and short castle are also possible. D captures c5. Knight a6. a3. Bishop captures. Queen captures. Knight takes c5. b4. Knight e4, queen d4. d5. Yes, and here if c takes the queen d5 is coming, f3, knight d6, c5, b6, f3, b takes c, queen a5 check, queen b4. Up to this position, both players played something very principled. But here in this position, Turkish player went wrong. The best continuation according to engines is to go queen c7, f takes e, rook b8. Black is sacrificing a piece. If queen d4, then e5 is coming. If queen a4, bishop d7, and later on black is capturing with the knight on e4. White is being a piece up, but they are having some difficulties with the development of the pieces. Yes, in this position, if you don't know queen c7, most likely it is quite difficult to go for it. And queen takes b4. Losing move, very bad move. A takes b. Knight is trapped. The only square is to go c3. And here computers are showing that e3 is better move, but bishop b2, because here d4 is possible. d4, bishop takes, or d4, e4, knight b5. Yes, no doubts, white is having completely winning position, pair of bishops, much better pawn structure, and ideas to push the e-pawn and attack the knight. But I like how Anastasian slowly wins from this position, e4, bishop d7, protecting on b5, bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop takes b5, and now knight e2. My knight is coming to d4, and once I'm getting my knight on d4, then very, very bad position for black without any counterplay. And if you take bishop e2, then after king e2, how are you going to defend your a7 pawn? My king is coming to d3. I can double my rooks along a file, +4. So this knight d4, a6, king d2, fighting for e file and also trading the rooks, takes rook e1, rook e5, last attempt to maybe slightly improve pawn structure, but f4, forcing opponent to take, and this is of course lost in a different ways. This, g3, king e3, and now very quickly, I'm sure I would maybe try some f5, king f4, maybe trying to get the king on a4, and then king a5, but Anastasian very quickly goes b5. It takes knight b5, and king c6, knight d6 is coming. This king d4, knight d6, knight e8. Yes, pawn on f6 is under attack. I'm also threatening knight c7. Yes, knight c7, capturing the pawn, knight is coming to e3, and then king is coming to b6. Yes, king b5, king b6, and now h4, and Turkish player resigned.